Sarah, can you hear me?
I can, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it is 6 o'clock on Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. I'm going to call to order the Council on Family Resource Centers. With that, Rochelle, do you mind doing a roll call? Sorry.
Okay, apologies. Vanessa Van Cor, Perla Garcia.
Do you want to turn your microphone
Turn on your
on?
microphone and say present.
Present.
And Corey.
Right in the center.
I'm here.
Scott Benton,
I'm here.
Rebecca Paris,
Here.
Rachel Kingham.
Thank you. And with that, we do have quorum, so we will continue with our meeting. Item 2 is items for presentation, discussion, information, and/or action. Note to the audience, public comment will be taken on all action items. If you are interested in submitting public comment, a public comment card should be filled out and submitted to our recording secretary, Rochelle, before speaking during the public comment section. With that, I am going to move an agenda item out of order. We are going to move item 2.04 to the beginning of our action items, or item 2. Our items under item 2. So if we can prepare for the presentation and discussion of the Washoe County School District Family Resource Funding status, including the status of grant applications and possible action to provide recommendations to staff on scheduling future fundraising and publicity activities. Rochelle.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Rochelle Murillo. I'm the staff liaison for this council, director of the intervention department in the school district. So a couple of updates that we have about funding. So we did apply to multiple grants. We did get all of those grants, including a Human Service Agency that awarded us a $98,000 grant that supports our HUG Family Resource Center, our Feemster Family Resource Center. We had some carryover, so that ended up being about $109,000, which will cover our family advocates, 2 family advocates, full-time family advocates within the centers. We received our Title 4B, our CTF, which is concentrated on parenting programs. Title 4B works with our families that have reunified after being in foster care, or working on families that are accessing resources, or prevention sorts of things, and parenting. We did receive our Family Resource Center grant, the Funds for Healthy Nevada. So we're fully staffed. We have 2 new family advocates that are starting with us that we're happy to have. We have 1 vacancy, I believe, correct? 1 vacancy? Yes, 1 vacancy. It's been tough to hire those positions. It's been hard to find people to apply for them, and then we've offered the positions and then been declined. So they've been difficult to fill this year. But so you know, there is 1 vacancy still out there. And then Wiley Evanson, who you all know and love, and we do too, has accepted another position. So he'll be leaving us. We'll have a vacancy within that position as well. So we're fully funded, but this particular agenda item, it holds 2 purposes: to update you on our current funding and to allow you some time as a council to discuss any potential fundraising efforts that this council is interested in discussing. We do have to make sure that if there is anything that we are interested in participating in the future, we are subject to open meeting law. So keep in mind that if we were to meet other than the times that we have scheduled, we would need to advertise it because there's a potential for quorum. And so if we're discussing, we have to make sure that we are advertising that at least 2 weeks ahead of time. So just keeping that in mind as you are thinking about potential events or other opportunities in there. And so I'll turn this over to Chair Benton for further discussion.
Thank you. I will look to the council to see if there's any questions or comments that we have for Rochelle on the information that she presented. As I see some of you vigorously writing, I will look over here to Rebecca. I drew a blank for a minute.
So you hired 2 new advocates, is that correct? Where are they going?
What was your question?
What center are they going to?
So we're still internally talking about that because Wiley is leaving, and because of traffic in our centers and just a lot going on with different centers, we still have some decisions to make regarding who is going where right now. So we don't totally know that yet. So we have to talk about that internally.
Good question. Rochelle, one question that I have is, you said that you've offered positions to people. Is it, and they're being declined, is it based on funding and the minimal funding available, or is it?
It's a variety of reasons. Some of them are personal reasons. And I'm not sure that any of them decline based on how much the position pays. I will tell you that our district has potentially agreed to a contract with ESPs, which are classified staff. I think that still needs to be, we still have to go through all the final approvals, so we don't know what it'll finally look like, but it's anticipated that they'll get, I believe it's a 18%? 18% raise? 13, which would be district general funds, and then an additional match that they would get. So about 18% raise. What we don't know is that's retroactive back to July 1. And when that will actually get ratified and voted on and approved, and when that would go into effect. That's what we personally don't know about. So we'll have to, find that out. I will tell you that as grants, we have to absorb that cost. So we are excited and ecstatic that staff are getting a raise, and also it will be a big chunk out of our grants that potentially impact direct services.
So hearing that, when you say it impacts the grants, having a percentage of the funding coming from a different fund within the school district, does that allow for, like you said, more direct services? Does it allow for that, whatever 17% of the funding that is coming from the grants to go back into the programs that you guys are administering? That's how I understand it.
So ask me that again. I'm not sure I understand the question.
My original question was, I wanted to one, find out if the funding that we have gone through fundraising for, or grant writing, or those applications, one, does it affect the wages, and that's why somebody's not accepting or declining a position?
Mm-hmm.
But then you stated that 17% of the salary increase is going to go towards from the school district, or is it?
No, it's a 17% salary increase. It's a raise of 17% of what they're currently making, right?
And that's not absorbed through contract or through grants.
That is absorbed through grants. So that's what I'm trying to explain is that, let's say somebody makes, just for easy, $10 an hour, they get 17% additional funding, and that comes out of our grants. So we currently have them budgeted at $10. Now we have to budget the additional 17% raise plus anything that's retroactive back to July 1, if that's something that's approved.
When you say approved, it's approved by the Board of Trustees?
Ultimately, the Board of Trustees, and so WESPA is the classified staff association.
Okay.
And they need to ratify it, I believe, still. I'm not in that association, so I don't know all the details, but that's as I understand it.
Okay. Hearing that it's going to
And
affect
just from our perspective, I'm sorry to jump
Yes, Sarah,
in.
thank you.
Sarah.
We can't go into too much detail since those are not finalized. It would be West, but we still don't have a final agreement like Rochelle's been saying. So this is all still tentative.
Thank you. Historically, from the funding standpoint, what allocation is allowed for salaries in a typical grant that operates through the Family Resource Center?
What salary in terms of?
Like what percentage of that grant? So say that we just got approved for a $98,000 grant. Is it?
That does not cover fully those two positions. So for example, family advocate right now, I believe, I'm just gonna, off the top of my head, because I don't have it in front of me, makes about 112,000, because we have to budget the salary for the entire year plus benefits. That includes medical benefits, that includes retirement, disability, everything that we're required to pay for an employee within the school district.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Perla or Ann?
Scott,
Or, yes.
can I address the board?
Yes,
So Brenda
please, Brenda.
Costello for the record. So that percentage, like that 98,000, is 100% salaries. There's not even a cartridge of ink in there.
Correct.
So, and the other thing, this is a COLA raise.
Right.
So, but we write our grants basically a year in advance.
Right.
So we speculate what there might be, but I finalized like the CTF grant and the 4B grant. Lisa did that one in March. So from last year, so that we're going now into 2024. So it's always, we absolutely want our advocates to be well paid, but when there are giant raises, we get a little cringy, and then we're gonna do a bake sale to buy those ink cartridges, so.
Okay.
So the vast majority of our grants, though, when you look at our budgets, are salaries.
And maybe that's the clarification I was
Yeah.
looking for, is like the
Of
grants that
all
we're
of our
applying
grants,
for.
the vast majority of our grants are budgeted for salaries to pay for the individuals to provide those direct services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions? Rochelle, what kind of action are you looking for this council to provide?
This is a standing agenda, so because this council has expressed interest in the past in doing different fundraisers or different ideas around grant writing ideas, and so this is essentially to update you all on our current grant status and then provide you opportunities to discuss any ideas that you have around fundraising or grant writing opportunities or anything like that.
Yes, Ann.
I just wanted to mention I've been a grant writer for many years, and so I am happy to look for grants. I still scope them out whenever I can, and if I can find anything, I will certainly pass it along.
Yes, Lisa really likes when we do that. That's who I forward things to, is Lisa Guzman.
Rebecca, for the record.
Yes, Rebecca, please.
What in the past fundraising events have we had and what's been successful?
We have not, to my knowledge, done any particularly fundraising events that I'm aware of. We have donors sometimes that donate funding, but primarily our job has been to seek grants and write those grants for the services that we are providing.
And I think for clarity on this agenda item, it was brought forth at my request because one of our council members wanted to host a fundraiser. And we logistically talked through all of that in this meeting, per open meeting laws. And I think I have pulled back my interest in fundraisers because as a council, we can't do the fundraisers. We have to ask staff to do it. And I don't feel like that's appropriation of staff for us to direct them to do a fundraiser. So I know it got a lot of traction at the beginning and we had some great discussion about doing a large fundraiser, not bake sales, so that we weren't putting forth a lot of energy into one thing. But I think as a council, one of the things that we can take away from helping with the funding is if we have connections in the community that are looking for opportunities, to always point them in the direction of the family resource centers. I think that's more of where the agenda item is going. Unfortunately, Council Member Van Core is not here, and it was her and I, infinite wisdom, thinking we can solve the world's problem of hunger with fundraising.
Well, and we do appreciate it, Chair Benson.
Right.
And may I say that also, most of the time we're looking at how to sustain salaries for the individuals to provide services. And with that, we need long-term sustainable funding for that, so that we can continue on year after year. Fundraisers are amazing, but they're one-time funding, and so they're not sustainable for salaries. And our highest need really is for salaries and sustainable funding for salaries. However, we do need those one-time funding opportunities to provide things like emergency rental assistance, food, when families need it, clothing, laundry packets, bus passes, all those things are very helpful where we can take that money that's for direct programming out of the grants to utilize for fundraising. If we had fundraising money, we could use programmatic funds to purchase those instead of the large grants, utilizing that and dedicate more money to, in those larger grants, to salaries, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Ann?
I was going to ask if they needed money for food. I've done quite a bit of grant writing for the food pantry, and I'm happy to pass along some of those opportunities. I wasn't all that successful, but somewhat.
We would always be appreciative of that.
And I think going back to the fundraising idea, when we initially talked about it, it was we wanted to maybe come up with an annual event that would sustain a small amount of money, but host an annual event in conjunction with Family Resource Center's month, which is May. So minimizing the staff's involvement, but maximizing the potential of exposure is what I remember Vanessa's idea being. So I think, I don't know what I think anymore. I think for tonight's agenda, if we can accept Rochelle's report on the funding status and then keep this as a standing item so that we can have continual conversation. I think it's been healthy for the council, and especially with our new members, they're going to have the best ideas. Us old members don't know anything anymore. So with that, do we need a motion to accept your report, or can we?
Sarah, can you give us guidance? If we're not taking action, do we move on, or do we need a motion?
No, you don't need a motion to accept her report because it's just part of the meeting minutes. So it's just part of the presentation. So if no actions item is, like you aren't making any recommendations for fundraising, then the minutes will reflect her presentation and report.
Perfect. Yes, Ann.
I would move for approval.
And hearing from legal, Sarah's our legal counsel, we don't have to take an action because it's going to be reflected. So we will close item 2.01.
Thank you, Sarah. I think Sarah's leaving us for
Before
now,
she
but
leaves,
thank you, Sarah.
Sarah, before you leave, do I need to have Ann retract her
Thank you,
motion?
everybody. No one seconded it, and so it wasn't open
Perfect.
for a vote. So
Thank you so much.
yes.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening. With that, we'll move back to item 2.01, which is the welcome and introduction of new members to the Council on Family Resource Centers and review the purpose of Washoe County School District Family Resource Centers. This is for presentation and discussion. I'm going to pass it back over to Rochelle.
Okay, hello again. So we wanted to officially welcome our two new council members. We are incredibly grateful for you to be on here. They were approved last week, I think it was, by our Board of Trustees, and so they officially start with us today. And so I wanted to give Ann Corey and then Perla Garcia an opportunity to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about why they chose to be a part of this council.
Ann, you're up.
Okay, my name is Ann Corey, and I've lived in Reno since 1977, and had 3 children go through the Washoe County School District, through kindergarten through 12th grade. None of them lives in the community anymore, but they were definitely formed by the school district. I have recently retired after a career in human services. I've worked with Family Resource Centers for a very long time through various projects in the community, and I've always admired the work they do with little resources, and so I'm hoping I can be of some help.
Thank you, Ann. And for the minutes, I just want to reflect that Rachel has arrived via Teams. All right, Perla, you're up.
Hi.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Perla Garcia. I am a graduate from UNR, something I'm really proud of, first gen, so I think it sets the stepping stones for others in my family. But I've been dedicated since I can remember, 5 years old, to paying it forward and just helping the community based on my upbringing and all the great things that the community did for my family to get me to where I am today. I'm currently in a position where I work in mental health, so I'm always assisting families with linking them to long-term sustainable resources and supports, and so it's my passion, and that's why I decided this might be a great place for me.
Well, on behalf of the council, I appreciate you guys willing to serve with us. It's definitely a fun venture, and we hope that you have fun along the way. Any comments from the other council members? Well, welcome, Anne, and welcome,
Yeah,
Perla.
just welcome.
All right, we will close item 2.01 and move into item 2.02, which is approval of the minutes of our June 21st, 2023 meeting of the Council on Family Resource Centers. This is for possible action. And before we do that, Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Thank you. All right, I look for the council to make a motion.
Rebecca, for the record.
I'm
a
happy.
motion
Oh, sorry.
to approve the minutes.
All right, we have a motion from Rebecca.
This is Rachel Kingham, and I'll second.
Thank you. So we have a motion from Rebecca, a second from Rachel. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Let the record reflect it was approved unanimously. Unanimously. Favorite item of the evening, item 2.03. Possible action to select a vice chair for the Council on Family Resource Centers from among the following individuals: Rachel Kingham, Vanessa Vancour, Rebecca, how do you say your last? Paris, thank you. Perla Garcia, and Ann Corey. So I'm going to look to the council for action on this item.
Chairman, may I just clarify for everyone again that so obviously Chair Benton is the chair. He runs the meetings and then he reviews the agenda ahead of time for us. A vice chair's purpose would be to run these meetings if he was not available to be here. And then also view the agenda for us as well. So that's essentially what you would be doing if you chose to put yourself forward to be considered as a vice chair.
And then for a point of clarity, we cannot nominate Vanessa because she is not here. The person has to accept the nomination during this action item.
Rebecca, for the record, should we wait for, can we wait for her? Like, is that something she'd want to do?
Maybe from my point of view as an individual, I think we should take action because we haven't had a vice chair for a while. Not that I can't carry the weight, but I want to share the responsibilities. And I'm going to look to Lisa. I know, did everybody agree to the waiver of the 21 days before we move forward on action?
Lisa Guzman, for the record, everyone present physically, yes, did. Rachel did inform me that she prefers not to be considered for the vice chair position.
Thank you. With that, I will be humble to make a nomination. Should you accept, Rebecca?
Sure, yes.
With that, I will make the motion that we nominate Rebecca Paris make the selection as Rebecca Paris as our vice chair of the Council on Family Resource Centers.
Chair Benton, do we need to give them an opportunity to discuss this before you motion, or do you know?
Yes, I will retract my motion and have an opportunity for discussion.
This is Rachel for the record. And I think it's a wonderful idea, Rebecca. Thank you.
I think she's reluctantly laughing. Any other discussion? And before I go back to my motion, is there any public comment on this item?
There is none.
All right, with that, I will make the motion that we select Rebecca Paris as Vice Chair of the Council on Family Resource Centers.
Second.
Thank you. A motion by myself, a second from Anne. Any discussion on the motion? All right, with that, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any objections, say nay. All right, let the record reflect that it is voted on unanimously. Congratulations. We will move to item 2.05, and that is the presentation and discussion of Washoe County School District Family Resource Center data and outreach events, including future community outreach events and volunteer opportunities. And we welcome some of our Family Resource Center staff to present this item. Pass the baton to you, Lisa.
Thank you. Lisa Guzman and Jasenia Segura for the record. So I think you all have the handout of our events and collaborations since we last met in June. We continue to be very busy with such activities, especially with the start of school in August. So we'll briefly go through, let me know if you have any questions. We continue to have SNAP outreach at all of our sites where a representative from the food bank comes to the Family Resource Center and helps our clients apply on site for SNAP, saving them having to go to the welfare office, which is wonderful. We also continue to be intake sites for NV Energy's SAFE program, as well as the State of Nevada's Energy Assistance Program. We participated in the Catholic Charities food distribution at Sparks High School. The Food Bank's Mobile Harvest program goes out to Sun Valley and North Valley Family Resource Centers. We attended the meeting of the Commercial Sexual Exploitation of Children, or CSEC, which falls under our Title IV-B funding. We attended the Continuum of Care meeting, which addresses issues regarding homelessness. We attended the Family Stability or Community Schools pilot meetings and have worked on that. That's a really large grant, a federal grant that has been submitted in partnership with UNR, and we should have the response on that in December. We had a family health festival and have been involved in the planning for those. We participated in the Nevada Immigrant Coalition meetings, the Parent Project parenting classes in conjunction with Join Together Northern Nevada and Children's Cabinet. Brenda Costello is a facilitator for that. We attended events of the Asian Community Development Center as well as the Latino Resource Fair. We attended the ribbon cutting for the Anthem Wellness Center, where I believe we saw Chair Benton. We also have weekly food pantries at the North Valleys and Sun Valley locations. We attended a lot of back-to-school events that you can see here. So we had Sparks High School, Marvin Moss, McQueen, Bernice Matthews, Robert Mitchell, Wooster, Vaughn, O'Brien, Lemon Valley, Silver Lake, Stead Elementary, Desert Heights, Virginia Palmer, Desert Skies, Lois Allen, Sepulveda, Bennett, Cannon, Sun Valley Family Resource Center and North Valley's Family Resource Center hosted their own back-to-school events that were very successful. TMCC invited us to a back-to-school event, and we attended the Washoe County School District Back-to-School Expo. We presented to the school district clinical aides about the Family Resource Center. Two of our sites, Sparks and North Valleys, collaborate with Northern Nevada Literacy Council to host ESL classes on site. We continue to collaborate with Silver Summit, Katie Grace Foundation, Project 150. We were able to tour the Awaken facility. Actually, our whole intervention department was able to do that a couple of months ago. If you're not familiar with Awaken, they help people that are involved in trafficking, whether they're ready to leave that lifestyle or just need some support. We've partnered with them also through our Title IV-B funding, which has a focus on that. And you'll see below, they're actually doing another training for us coming up next month. We attended an event called It's Time that we were invited to by Trustee Westlake. We attended the Gomes Elementary School Fall Festival and a meeting with, can you take this one? I don't know what that is.
Yes, hi, this is Jasenia Segura for the record, and we did attend today actually along with Brenda Costello and myself. Candleland Meeting is an organization that offers workshops for 7 weeks for families or any adults that have guardianship, either permanent guardianship or temporary guardianship of children under the age of 5. We are talking about a partnership with our centers, with the Sun Valley Family Resource Center and the North Valleys Family Resource Center, to host those workshops there, within talks about that and the logistics and everything else. So it's really, really new. It just happened this morning, and they are invited to all of our events, and we will continue to do that and tell you more as it becomes an actual reality.
Awesome.
Lisa Guzman again for the record. We also listed some events that are upcoming. So the National Family Support Network does have webinar Wednesdays. These are very nice and informative, especially if you're new to the Family Resource Center and might want to learn a little bit more about them. So Family Resource Centers are not just in Nevada, they are nationwide. So it's nice to see what programs in other states are doing, as well as learning about the standards of the Family Resource Centers, and just lots of good information can be found there, so feel free to check those out. The next Family Health Festival, in conjunction with the Food Bank, will be at O'Brien on October 5th. That's open to the public. We'll be there. Feel free to stop by. It should be a very well-attended event. The Children's Cabinet is hosting a resource fair October 14th. We'll be having a table there. Our training with Awaken that I had referenced will be on October 17th, and our North Valleys Family Resource Center is hosting the Biggest Little Baby Fair on October 18th. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, I look to the council. If they have any questions? Perla.
I was just curious, the Biggest Little Baby Fair, what does that entail? That sounds awesome.
It's a close partnership we have with one of the MCOs with Medicaid Anthem. They have joined in the support of our food pantry and saw the need when they were tabling that we have a lot of families that have toddlers, babies that are in need of diapers, baby wipes, baby formula, and with also seeing that need, we collaborated, and on our monthly meetings that we had, this idea came up to invite other agencies into our center and do a short fair for those families that are in need, and perhaps give them the information to more stable support through WACS, the Women and Children Center, along with other agencies that do support, like the Baby Bounty efforts. So this is still a really new event. So the flyer is still in works, but it has been confirmed. So we're all very excited to offer this to the community.
Anne.
I have two questions. One is, has WIC been invited to join the Baby Festival or the Baby Fair?
Yes, we actually have a location nearby. Anthem is going to take over those type of communications in regards to gathering as many agencies as possible to ease up the organization with just myself. So they are volunteering to talk to the Community Health Alliance, which hosts the WIC location right next on Vista Knolls, where Lemon Valley is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Great,
they
thank
will
you.
for sure will be invited.
It's a great resource for families,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And then my second question is Is this an unusual number of events for a quarter based on the fact that the school year started, or are you doing this year-round?
I would say this is about average. I will say at our last meeting, I had to shrink the font and the margins, so the print this time is actually a little smaller than it typically is. So, I mean, it does kind of vary depending on the time of year. Maybe it'll slow down a little bit over the winter because there won't be as many outdoor events and things like that, but this is probably about average, I would say.
Okay, it's a lot.
Rachel. We'll toss it over to you.
For the record, Rachel, I wanted to commend you. I think the idea of offering the space to hold those types of events is such a great one. Is that something that might be, I understand this is the first one, is that something that might be spread out across the other centers?
It's just that we all look different in regards to the architectural. Desert Skies and O'Brien have a designated area for us where we have the capability to offer our own entrance to the center for the families in the community to seek assistance. So I believe it's a space issue that not all family resource centers have that same layout as we do.
Yeah.
But, we can definitely, we do
Okay.
talk among each other.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's a really great idea. So
And invite
yeah,
the whole
awesome.
community, yeah. So
Great
these
question.
events, just to clarify, I'm so sorry. These events are not just for the areas where the Family Resource Center is located. It's open to the whole community. So even though Sparks may not have the same space as, O'Brien or Desert Skies, those families that are zoned to Sparks are welcome to come to these events that are being hosted in much bigger areas.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, Lisa, which one was your favorite event to attend?
I gave this a lot of thought, Chair Benton, because I knew
Gotta be
you were going to
consistent.
ask. Yeah, and it is really difficult to say because there were a lot of diverse events and they were all really cool. But if I have to pick one, I would probably say the School District Back to School Expo. It was really nice. It was very well attended. It was nice to connect with some of the other school district departments and get some contacts there. So that one might stick out just a little bit more.
We gave out a lot of toothbrushes
Okay.
at that. And they had a line around the building for vaccinations for students, and they ran out of vaccinations. So
Wow.
it was great. Yeah.
Yesenia, which one would be your favorite?
Like Lisa said, each of them are very special. Just seeing a lot of agencies come together for the same cause to help and support our community that perhaps are not, especially the ones that are not usually dealing with crisis and with everything changing along cost living and everything else. Just having them be okay with going to these events that they possibly never have gone before and now are found to in that position, just seeing their reaction and seeing that they're not alone, that there's no reason to be ashamed. I really do enjoy each of these events and getting to know people and their situation at that given time. But I do gotta say that ESL adult classes are really nice to see their progression and their faces and at first they don't know what to expect, and now especially we just started this at North Valleys. We're in week 3, and when we just walk in to get stuff out and we hear them repeat themselves and start talking in English only to us, it's really nice to see their efforts and seeing their growth and their confidence going up. So,
Awesome. Well, Rochelle, anything that you want to add before we move on?
No, not really. Just, the staff are incredibly busy and it's really important for us to get out and do these things. And I commend them for all of their work because it's a lot of late nights. And like we were at Sparks Marina until 8 o'clock on last Friday. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's great to be out there and talking to the community.
And I would be remiss if I didn't remind the council, if you hear of an event that you think the centers would benefit from, they like to attend as much as possible, and they don't often hear of the same opportunities that we do. So please, please, please share some of those opportunities. I would like to, while we're under this action item, really commend Lisa for her presence in the community. I got the opportunity to see her 2 days in a row at 2 different events. And I am proud that the Family Resource Centers has a voice in some of the work that I get to do in my daily life. So seeing you at the Northern Nevada COC leadership meeting was impressive, and it really speaks to your gratitude and your dedication to what you do, Lisa. So I really commend you. And then the next day I got to see several staff members at the opening of the Anthem Wellness Center. So it really reminds me of why I choose to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Chair Benton, Lisa Guzman, for the record, and that's greatly appreciated. But I have got to say, our team, believe me, they are out much more than I am, and they are all amazing. So kudos to all of us.
Yes,
and
please
thank you
share
for
the
that.
gratitude from me. All right. I think that closes out item 2.05. No.
I think we still have a little bit more to
Yes,
go.
thank you. Don't want to discount Wiley and his opportunity to talk to us one last time.
Wiley, may I ask Rachel if she can see? Rachel, can you see the presentation?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, Chair Benton, members of the board. Wiley Evanson for the record. So one last time to present to you guys on some of the data for FRCs. So this is for this school year. We're going to do since we just started, most of the data will be from July through September. That's the initial period that our school year is starting. And so most of this information will be just a short condensed version of that. So our first slide.
As we get to the first slide, will you remind us what eLogic and CallRail is when you get to those talking points?
Yeah, absolutely. So this first one is our eLogic database. This is where we track all of our client information. So all of the resources that we provide, services we provide, referrals, all of client data, demographics is all tracked through this database. It's an HMIS like social work kind of social services program that we use that really focuses to the work that we're actually doing. And then we actually piloted the eLogic database when it first came along, and then now it's implemented all across the state of Nevada through all of the FRCs. So it's a great database. We're really privileged to have them and be able to use their system to track some of this data. And it's really been awesome to help us develop these reports for our state, for our grants, and then for the community members so that they can see the work that we're doing and then be able to quantify it. So looking at this one, this is our first chart here. Again, all the information is from July through August. Just a short snapshot, but this one right here, sorry if it's a little small on the screen, but this one shows July through August of our school year 21 in the blue, and then it shows July through August 2022 in the red, and then July through August 2023, which is our most recent and our most current one right here. So as you could kind of see, if you can kind of see it up there, hopefully you guys got it in front of you. The numbers have steadily been increasing. It looks like our families have continually increased over that period of time. Again, this is a small snapshot of just a short window, but they continue to increase. It looks like the children, that might have been a typo there. The children should be on the same trajectory as well, going up from 400 to 494, and I think it was around 500, something like that in children as well. So apologize for that typo there. Our individuals as well has gone up. I know just from some of our centers, we're getting a lot of phone calls from, single adults. I've had a lot of young adults call for different services. They're looking for rental assistance, utility assistance, because they're living with roommates, things like that, and they're unable to pay. So we're seeing kind of those individuals, especially seniors as well, going up looking for assistance. So those individuals and seniors is kind of going up as well. And then you could take a look across the board. Most of our services have either relatively stayed the same or increased. Some of them note to kind of put out there is our education for this year. You see the previous years were a little bit smaller. Education really focuses around our referrals that we're providing for education, back to school supplies, things like that. And so this year we got some pretty big donations from some different agencies and different places. So like the Washoe County Democratic Party of Washoe County did a drive for us, got their members to donate some of their books, notebooks, pens, pencils, colored pencils, did a big school supply drive for us. And then some other different agencies, I don't know, some of them, I think Rochelle worked with some different agencies to get some additional school supplies, backpacks, things like that donated to all of our centers. So we were able to give out a lot more services around education and school supplies for this school year. Energy assistance is also of note. Our emergency assistance, which is provided through the SAFE program through NV Energy. That program, we exhausted all of our funding fairly quickly for like the entire year. And so that program closed pretty abruptly at the beginning. And so we're waiting to see if that program is going to open up. So we haven't been doing a lot of those SAFE applications, which is the emergency assistance. We're still continuing to do the energy assistance applications to the state of Nevada. But that program, because they are short some workers, as well as the volume of an influx of families applying for that program outside of SAFE, has gone up drastically. So what was usually taking about 2 to 3 months to approve is now taking anywhere from 5 to 6 months. So it's been a little bit hard to get families actually approved and getting assistance from the energy assistance program. Also, you'll probably see on here of note transportation as well as wellness, which can kind of encompasses hygiene kits, gift cards, clothing vouchers. You see those ones, especially with wellness and hygiene kits, has drastically increased. At least for this last year, we were able to use some of our funding due to staff change and turnover and just having some additional funding in our grants to be able to purchase hygiene basic needs. So we purchase laundry soap, laundry pods, like dryer, softener, things like that. Then we were able to buy all of the things for hygiene kits. So, shaving cream for men, deodorant, razors, all that kind of stuff, and be able to put together some packs. So all of our centers was able, I believe it was about $1,000 or $1,500 per center, were able to purchase all of those and be able to make up their own hygiene kits. So we were able to give out quite a few of those to families when they came into our offices seeking that assistance. We were also able to get some foundation grants for gift cards, and some of those were donated as well. So we were able to give out some gift cards along with our food boxes and just some general gift cards for families that need extra clothing or whatever they may need for that piece. And then transportation, at least for bus passes, again, we were able to purchase some bus passes with our grant funding, as well as some foundation grants to be able to purchase bus passes for families. So you'll see that one kind of increase. And then as you guys are looking at this, does anybody have any questions before we move into some of the other data? And again, this is just a small snapshot. I'm hoping that as the year progresses and continues, you'll kind of be able to see the correlation over the years as it kind of, the year continues. All right, next up is our CallRail database data. CallRail is fairly new. It's a phone tracking system and text messaging component that we implemented during COVID. So I think it's fairly new, about 2-3 years old. We wanted to start being able to access families and being able to contact them just outside of the phone, being an agency that provides lots of services to families that don't have access to minutes or things like that. So we decided that we would use the CallRail database to be able to track our phone calls, see what our volume looks like, and be also to start text messaging families. So implementing this, if you're looking at this is again just this school year. So it goes from July through August. You can kind of see the big line. It's kind of faint on this this graphic right here, but the faint line at the very top right there is our FRC call flow. So this is the main number that you see on any of our flyers that we give out at outreach events, or we give out to the schools, community agencies. That's our main number that they call, and then they're directed to a certain center to contact that staff. That's our biggest one. That's getting the most volume. So families calling into that phone number and then trying to access resources. And then there's some data regarding some of the other centers as well. And then, so just in that month, or that 2 months there, we fielded over 1,600 calls. So that's quite a few calls in just a short period of time. And again, I'm hoping that as the meetings continue on, we'll be able to kind of show you a comparison of what it looks like throughout these chunks of time. And then our text conversations, you can kind of see there, we do send text messaging has been something that's been super instrumental in being able to reach and contact families. So many families, it's difficult to contact them via phone or be able to meet them, like email or go out and see them in homes. So being able to text message them has been huge for us. And you could see there as well, almost 1,200 text conversations over the 2 months. So there's lots of, all of our staff have access to this. We're able to put it on our phones. So we're out at meetings or out in the community, we can still be able to get those messages and still be able to contact them. Any questions regarding CallRail? Okay. All right, moving along. So another one that we implemented too was the Google Business. So all of our centers and all of our sites have a dedicated Google Business page so that we can track insights and track the performance and things like that, and kind of get some insights that Google allows and offers as being a Google business. So all of our information, if you Google any of our centers, you're able to see all the information for the FRCs, where they're located, when their hours of operations are, what services they provide, all that information. So looking here at this first graphic, just kind of gives us a little bit of a performance and shows us some information about almost 7,000 people are viewing Sparks FRC, and that's just Googling it and pulling up that page. This is like all-time data, so this isn't like for a certain period of time. This is since we've established as a Google business, I think like I think it was maybe like 2 years ago. This is how many people are contacting and regularly viewing the profile. And then there's searches, around 1,200 searches for Sparks FRC, and then you can see the same for Sun Valley FRC. 1,800 people are viewing the business profile, and then about 240 searches. And then there's certain keywords. It also is kind of Google Business is pretty cool. It shows certain keywords. So majority of the time people are just Googling Family Resource Center, and then it's populating with some of these with our FRCs. Simple FRC, rental assistance. As you can see on Sparks, rental assistance is pretty high, and energy assistance, and then same with Sun Valley community assistance. And then the next slide shows our Central Reno office and our North Valley's office, so you guys could take a look at that one. Again, the profile views of the Google Business are pretty high, especially for Sparks and Central Reno, North Valleys as well, because these are highly populated areas and they cover wide areas. So a lot of people go to access those services. Any questions regarding Google Business data?
This is Ann Corey. I don't know if you have an answer to this, but what do you think drives the different keywords being searched for at different FRCs?
I'm not 100% sure. My guess would be just quick access depending on who is researching. Like I said, most of the time it's just the general search is Family Resource Center, and then our resource centers populate because that's their location is directing on. And then most of them are rental assistance, utility assistance, and so in looking at those, I think some of our free advertisements that are built in on the services that we provide allows us to be at the top because we provide rental assistance, we provide utility assistance. So when they just type that simple, rental assistance, where can I go? Our page is populating and then allowing them to contact us and be able to see our information. It's a direct link to our Washoe County School District website that has our flyer, has all of our information, and they can get additional information. So that's all there for them to be able to pull.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then so we wanted to incorporate with the data just a recent family success story to be able to kind of show you guys the kind of the cases that we're working with and the families that present in our resource center. So I'll just go ahead and, do you guys want to just read this, or do you want me to read this? How do you guys?
Let's have you read it since
Okay.
you seem so eager.
So a recent family success story. This was actually at our North Valley's FRC, submitted by Yesenia Segura, one of the FRC specialists. So their office assisted several families struggling with several basic needs, such as food, rental, clothing, due to losing employment and being in a domestic violence relationship. They assisted with a recently divorced single mom who was a victim of domestic violence. They were able to assist her as soon as they walked in the office. She and her small 5 children were not in good shape, no clothes, no food, no shelter, and the mother only spoke Spanish. But she was able to share her situation, and they made her feel comfortable. They were able to provide some food, clothing, hygiene, as well as a domestic violence resource center assistance. And then since they had an open case with RPD, they were able to connect with a domestic violence social worker, and were able to get a hold of them and be able to get some additional assistance from them as well. The client had a brother and a sister that was willing and able to have them live with and move in with. So she was able to get a hold of them, and they came to pick her up. And they were able to assist at their office with Tu Casa Latina to get some additional assistance for the kiddos. From office was notified of the situation to assist the client to get her immigration status clarified and in process. They too came to their office to support clients who were able to get the needed paperwork started. So this family was, in crisis. They heard about our center, was referred to our center, and right there at the time of need, they were able to get the assistance, direct service from our office for all the things that they were kind of looking for. They did get some referrals out, but for most of the stuff that they needed, they were able to access it right in our resource center. And so I know most of you, and I know previous meetings, they've asked about a family success and how much it costs to kind of move like that family from that crisis into a little bit more of a stable situation. So this is just approximated. This is for that specific success story in our database, pulling that information up. Here's some approximated cost. So providing a couple of food boxes, as you can see there, was a couple $100, hygiene kits, gift cards, and then basic needs. So the approximated total service cost for, this is over a couple of months, kind of providing it in increments of time to kind of help them get to stability, was about $580. And then potential additional costs if Family Advocate dedicated time to the family was about 10 hours. So for staff salary and pay for them to assist that over several months, and then any resources and referrals if they were referred to another agency, their staff time, as well as whatever monetary services that they were able to provide. So that's kind of an estimated cost for at least just one family. Some families are going to be more, some families are going to be less. We could share a story about a family who was on Section 8 housing, and they come in and do inspections, and if they don't have blinds, something as simple as $40 or $50 for blinds can really jeopardize their sustainable housing. So being able to just be able to be like, hey, we'll get you some blinds. Here's a gift card to go to Target or Walmart and be able to buy those blinds to secure that, that Section 8 voucher to continue staying in their stable housing and get past that inspection is huge too. So it could be a lot less in order to help sustain them, or it could be a lot more depending on their situation and kind of what's going on. Any questions regarding that?
Yes, Anne.
This is Ann. Are you using this data in your grant applications? This is incredibly powerful, that for that really small amount of money, you're turning families around.
Yes, absolutely. So we use a lot of our eLogic database, our CallRail database, to pull reports that actually go directly to our grantors, so that they can see the numbers, they can see the demographics, and see all the information that we're doing. And then we're also incorporating all of that into our grants. So pretty much, we've written a lot of these grants over the years, but every little piece. Or every little grant that we do, we always include a piece on innovation and what we're doing to be innovative and trying to move the needle and try to look for those outcomes. So we've been including that in all of our grants. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Perla.
Thank you. I did want to ask, do you share any of these like testimonials, or do you get personal testimonials from families? I think it's super powerful, even just like reading this, but if you were to post it, or do you have that anywhere where other families can like relate and be more open to seeking assistance?
Yeah, so the district's communications department has done some videos and PSAs in the past on some of our clients. We've actually got clients that volunteered to be interviewed, ask them questions, and be able to kind of put those out on some of our websites, and they were able to kind of advertise some of those, as well as our other specialist, Desenia Segura. She runs our Facebook page. I think we have like a Instagram and maybe a Twitter, I don't know. But we're able to kind of, we post a lot of those, like when we do our back to school events or outreach events, or if we have families, we always kind of be able to post those and be able to share that with community members.
And this is Jasenia Segura for the record. And we also see few testimonies on our Google pages that Wiley just shared. There's a few comments there that the families are always welcome to leave us to see what we can do to improve our services. With that particular family, we were also getting ready to spend more money, but we had several agencies that came to our center that were able to take care of the rental so they wouldn't be evicted. EEPPNN came over, FARA came over, they worked together with the district attorney's office and were able to come up with a few months of rent much faster than we will be able to do it, because we will have to send a check request to send it to the landlord, get paperwork. They were able to do it at a much faster pace than we could. Otherwise, it would have been a much bigger cost, but because so many agencies happened to be there, it was just right after Christmas too. So, yeah, the impact was really. It was huge. The family ended up moving, though, to other circumstances, but she was also lucky to have family here to support her.
Brenda Costello for the record. Perla, to answer your question, over the years, we've actually bused families to Carson City to speak in front of the legislature, which is always a good time. So it's hard sometimes to find families to do that, but having a family tell their story in Carson City in front of a legislative body that is completely unaware of what some of our families live through is really powerful.
Great questions. Any other questions? All right, Wiley.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we will close item 2.05 and move on to item 2.06, which is the presentation and discussion of highlights from the 2023-2026 Washoe County School District Strategic Plan and the role of the Washoe County School District Family Resource Centers in supporting the strategic plan. I can't say that word. Or group of words.
I'm going to do this one, and Rachel, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to present this to you on your side, so I'll try to send it to you. But this is an overview. So our district, we of course have a new superintendent who's been leading work around developing a new strategic plan for our school district. And we wanted to give you an overview of some of the areas of the strategic plan. Some of you have been involved in some of the discussions around the strategic plan. Raise your hand if you were involved in it. So a couple of us were. And so I just wanted to go over it and specifically highlight some areas where I think I can speak for all the staff in the Family Resource Center that we're really extremely excited to see in the promise that it includes families and community. So the promise that our school district is committing to is we will know every student by name, strength, and need. This is different than previous strategic plans. So they graduate prepared for the future they choose, and we will deliver on this promise in partnership with our families and communities. And so love to see some of that wording. In particular, this is a pretty extensive school strategic plan, so I won't go over every aspect. It does have a variety of goals. There's 5 goals that they're looking at trying to promote student success. And those are the pre-K area, the strong start for every child, student voice and advocacy. That's something that our district has worked on for some time, and incorporating having students have leadership roles, not just leadership roles, but a say in some of the decisions that are being made at a school site level. Safe and belonging. We want all of our students and our families to feel safe walking through the doors of our school district. Of course, academic growth and achievement, that's sort of a given, right, for the school district, and empowering all learners for their future. So looking ahead, what does that look like for students as they graduate? But in particular, I want to draw attention to the pillars. So we also have 4 pillars: consistent standards, aligned curriculum and instruction. And then pillar B, that's where I want to really draw your attention to as family resource centers. And so this is strong language that we're really excited to see in our strategic plan, and it's strong partnerships among families, communities, and schools. And so that's really where our work under family resource centers is going to lie. We know that when families are stabilized, they have housing, they have access to food, they have a consistent, stable home life, children are more prepared to be successful in school. We see greater amounts of academic success. So the work that the folks here do each and every day is contributing to family stability, but also student success and greater graduation rates. So the other pillars are communicating, commitment to elevating educators. So we want to support our staff. The pandemic was difficult on both students and staff and continues to be. And then culture of excellence and accountability. So in specifically the pillar B, I'm really excited to see that in there, and the work that we do amongst our different departments, family resource centers, and then we have family school partnerships under Delisa Crane. We work in collaboration with each other in what we do and how we support our families within our school district. And so happy to see that, and I just wanted to highlight particularly pillar B for the work that family resource centers do within our district. And I want to open it up for any questions that you might have around the strategic plan.
Any questions? Rachel, do you have any questions?
No, I'm excited to see what they have included that that relates to the family resource center. So that's great.
And I believe it's actually on the school district website, the entire strategic plan outlined with lots of information.
Correct. It's pretty extensive. So Rachel, if you can't find it, then just give me a holler and I'll send it over to you. I'm just showing you sort of the overview of the strategic plan, but there is an extensive plan that's on our district website, washoschools.net, that you can access.
Yes, you gave us a very good Cliff Note version. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anne.
I don't have a question, just a comment, and that is, I did spend time reading through the whole strategic plan on the website, and it really represents a sea change in terms of the focus on family voice and community involvement, and that's very welcome.
Any other comments? Rochelle, I appreciate you bringing that up. It's been very passionate on, I think, every aspect of the community. So hearing the vision, and I will speak for myself, having been a part of the strategic planning groups with the superintendent, she's ready to hear our voice. She wants to hear the community's voice. She's really out there in the community, and for her to put it in words, it holds herself accountable. And I think that's really where we're headed, is accountability is such a large focus that we can't teach it, but we have to instill that value. So seeing it in writing and knowing that she has the support of the community, and I think as the council, we can truly support it for that one mission that it involves families, and that's what we're here to serve as families. So, anything else before we close that item? All right, we will close item 2.06. Move on to item 2.07, which is the review of upcoming meeting dates and reminder of importance of regular attendance on at the Council of Family Resource Center meetings. So sadly, I get to tell you this is our last meeting of the year. Our next meeting will be January 17th, 2024, and then we'll have another meeting March 20th, 2024, and then June 20th of 2024, and that, because of the Juneteenth holiday, is moved to a Thursday. So I can talk on the importance of attending meetings. Oftentimes, prior to Perla and Ann on the council, we struggled to maintain quorum, and I think it's important that everybody knows that quorum is so vital so that our meetings can happen. If we don't have quorum, I have to cancel the meeting, and most oftentimes it cancels at 6:05. Right, when we know that we're not going to have quorum. So I appreciate Lisa and Rochelle and the staff really trying to corral us all together to make sure that we have quorum at each and every meeting. And I hope that you guys all see the importance of the work that we're doing as a council to provide some direction to the Family Resource Centers. And with that, I am going to close the item, but also make a note that, Rochelle, I would like to maybe sit down with you. Maybe we can schedule some time for these meetings to happen at an FRC so that we can all see the amazing work in person.
Agreed. Yes, I'd
So-
love to do that.
So maybe not the winter one, but maybe the March one, we can talk about
Yeah.
being at a family resource center.
Yeah, I think we're all for it. It's mostly, you know, we do have to have a legal representation present, and so it's just a challenge around that. And but I think we could work through it. So I'm 100% in agreement with that.
Perfect. That's not any action we're taking, it's just merely my suggestion. We're going to move on to our closing items. Item 3.01 is public comment. This time, do we have any public comment?
We do. Brenda Costello.
Brenda, welcome. It is not. There you go.
It looks different than the other one. So I am just here as a private citizen tonight because we just want to acknowledge Wiley Evanson and the work that he has done for the Family Resource Center while we were sitting here going through all of the agenda items. I'm like, when did he start? When did he start? So I started scrolling through my emails, and I think I have carpal tunnel. So we email a lot. So I expect it to continue, but not on that same amount of intensity. So looks like 2017. So before that, in 2017, Wiley became a director. Before that, he worked for our differential response program. And when our Sparks director, Mark Mulan, retired, we had groomed Wiley and then asked him if he wanted to take over. And he jumped in, like holding the sign that says, "I'm sure I'll make it." And he did, and we're so proud of him. He's not leaving. He's just moving on into a different department.
May I tell him what you're doing? Yeah. Okay. So Wiley's accepted a position as a transition specialist. He'll be working with students that are coming out of, students that are on probation or parole, coming out of incarceration or residential treatment centers or other treatment centers, and returning to our school district and providing a more comprehensive transition plan and case management so that we set them up for success as they're coming back. It's frequently a difficult transition for students when they've been in lockdown institutions, and then coming back to almost a small city like North Valley's is 2,300 students. That's hard for students. And so he's got a big job. He's done some of that already. We are sad to see him go, but we're really proud of him and excited for him to have this opportunity, and we'll be able to still work with him.
So, thank you, Wiley. Rochelle took my 3 minutes. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. So, I got Wiley a little, I didn't know what to get you. So, there's a little golf certificate in here, but just so you know what happens when you're getting something for Wiley, there was a giant jacked up truck parked next to me when I came out with a stuffed moose in the back. So, pretty much solid. So, congratulations. Don't forget us on your way up.
Well, now do I have to submit a public comment, or can I can come up? All right. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with my colleagues and be able to be with the FRCs. I'm not going far. I'll still be working, and I'll be collaborating a lot with them, but just want to say thank you to all of you, and it's been a pleasure to work with all of you. And I'm excited for you guys to join and be able to embark on this work that we've been doing for a long time. And thank you for championing this work and being here and supporting all of us and all the efforts that we do every day. So thank you, and thank you, everybody. I really, really appreciate this. But again, I'm not going too far. I'll still be here, and hopefully maybe I'll come back and share some public comment and be able to help support this work as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Wiley. Any other public comment?
There is none.
All right. Item 3.02 is the announcement of our next meeting, which is January 17th, 2024. And with that, at 7:15, I will call this meeting as adjourned.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.